Welcome to Grateful Gwen Goodreads channel, where we are currently reading The Art of Being, Recapturing the Self by author Catherine Laroze. What do you do? Not one day goes by without hearing these questions. What do you do? What does he do? What does she do? It has become a reflex, an automatic reaction, so much of a tick that we don't even realize it anymore. It is sort of an all-purpose opening question that allows us to establish social or intimate relations. A brush of the hand, a smile, a supportive glance, and the question leaps out, ready to use, so practical. It's something to throw out at another person when you want to know more about him, but don't know how to approach him or how to make contact. It's a tool, a convenient tool, neat, modern, foolproof. We can imagine the question as a door that we open to someone, or a bridge put up linking two riverbanks according to the distance that unites or separates the two people. The question is like an interactive medium permitting a spiritual exchange, since politeness and convention dictate that the person who was asked the question now ask it in return. And so it goes, feeding and greasing the machine. Those who were strangers have now formed a bond, all thanks to this superficial game that has nevertheless permitted the two to verify that they exist for each other and for society. A tool, then? But for what purpose? If the formulaic question, what do you do, or what are you doing, doesn't bring a positive response at first, the question is asked again more forcefully. From the start, the question requires a response. You can't just ask it back to the person without answering it first. That would be too easy. Although, maybe this would be the time to try, as that would emphasize exactly how superficial and superfluous the question really is. But usually you feel obligated to respond. Your questioner is interested in you. The least you can do is respond to the question. Either you respond, as you can see, I'm in the process of making a loom. I'm thinking about my next book. I'm in the middle of preparing a chocolate cake. ... ellipses, letting the question lead to more questions, answers, discussions, exchanges. Or you can take the question more generally. What do I do? The moment has come. Seize the inspiration. Who hasn't hesitated at one time or another before answering? You search within yourself. You ask yourself. You wonder. Just for a few tenths of a second. Where is your answer going to come from? During this short time lapse, you attempt to evaluate who this person is that is asking, why he's asking, is he asking formally or really interested? And considering the situation, what an adequate response might be. You mean, what is my job? What do I do? This is what you hear yourself say in order to buy time. A laugh, ridicule, a sarcastic comment forces you to hesitate just when you were about to make the leap. This is why you don't have a prefabricated response, a standard answer for this kind of question. The other person is still there, waiting for an answer to his question, his smile becoming more and more fixed. This is getting serious. Okay, let's go. So, I'm an architect, a lawyer, a hotel manager, a judge, a writer, a butcher, a mountain guide. One thing you might notice right away is that when someone asks us, what do you do? Most of us respond, I'm a fill in the blank. Of course, sometimes this question doesn't lead to the kind of answer, and the person responds by telling about all their particular interests, making reference to all their degree, coursework, and specific experiences. But more often, it's the simple automatic I'm a blank that is blurted out. This kind of answer clearly shows how we label ourselves, identify ourselves with an activity. The question of doing, under these conventional appearances, actually expands much further. It's a manner of interrogating somebody, cutting straight to the essentials. How deeply it cuts depends on how the person being asked identifies himself. The degree of perceived similarity between who one is and what one does. The significance of this question is ontological. It concerns the very nature of our being, not just our acts, deeds, and occupations. It disregards the boundary between self and the exterior world. It pries deep into our very souls, sometimes violently, without any of the etiquette that it pretends to have on the surface. Why do we feel victim of aggression? Why do we feel the victim of aggression? Why do we feel as though something intimate has been taken from us, as if this question touches the most deeply hidden secret part of ourselves? Violence, violation, the question of what we do can be about as gentle as a winch. We must ask ourselves, why does this question provoke such a reaction? Why does it seem to cut so deeply? This question has become central to our lives. It is no longer restricted to itself, to its own domain. It talks about who we are. It makes us talk about who we are. It breaks barriers. It creates them. We now need to go back in time to discover how we got to this point. We'll save childhood for the next time. Until next time, take care and give some quiet contemplation to the question, what do you do? What are you doing?